singer with one of America's top bands, Nirvana. He's believed to have killed himself with a shotgun blast to the head. A suicide note was found near his body. Nirvana turned grunge rock music into an international phenomenon. The band's 1991 album, Nevermind, featured the hit Smells Like Teen Spirit, sold millions of copies worldwide. Cobain wrote most of the music and the lyrics. His body was found in his home in Seattle. He struggled for a long time with a drugs and alcohol problem, and last month he spent several days in a Rome hospital in an apparent drug-induced coma. Well, joining me now in the studio is Russ Williams, who presents the rock album chart for Virgin 1215. Very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Tell us a bit more about his drug problems, first of all, before we get on to the trouble that the band suffered within itself.
I think it's probably difficult to actually put a finger on why Kurt did take hard drugs. He himself said that he did suffer from a curved spine, and he was in a lot of pain with that condition. And I know for a fact that he did say on a number of occasions that if he was going to have to take drugs to kill the pain, he might as well go the whole way.
So do you think that to a certain extent that he was rather unhinged? You've got the adulation, you've got the money, all that goes with being a rock star and all that immense pressure, and perhaps he had a fragile equilibrium into the bargain, and that's the catalyst for it.
I think it's kind of difficult to say, but historically, if you look at rock music from the 60s all the way through to the present day, every generation of rockers has had people who have, for various reasons, whether it's drug-induced or under more suspicious circumstances, have gone early. Certainly the drugs would appear to be, in Kurt's case, the major factor. After the incident in Rome, where he was in hospital, it was believed that he went back to America, and as far as I understand, he was at a facility in California. He left there about a week ago, went back home. His wife, Courtney, had to call the police on one occasion where he'd locked himself in a room with weapons. He'd spoken on a number of occasions about suicide in the subject, and he was depressed, so I understand, literally from the effects of hard drugs.
There are strong parallels, aren't there, between the likes of Cobain and Hendrix, Janis Joplin, people like that. It seems to afflict a certain type of personality, I suppose.
Well, I think these are creative people. Kurt was undoubtedly one of the very creative ones, as were some of the people that you've mentioned there. And when you're acknowledged as being very creative and influential, it's okay having a very successful first record. The problem is you've got to come up with a second one. And you're going all over the world, you're working all the hours that God gave, and basically sooner or later something has got to give. Now, whether it's alcohol or drugs, a lot of these people tend to follow that route.
Where does he as a rock star stand amid the pantheon of rock stars? I mean, how high would you put him against the likes of Elvis, say?
I wouldn't call him as significant globally as Elvis. I mean, undoubtedly Nirvana, Kurt's band, were massively influential, not only in the Seattle area of America, but as far as world rock music goes. They really started it off. Kurt was known as the father of grunge rock. They were hugely influential to American rock music. At that time, a few years ago, there was nothing really coming out of America in terms of rock music. And then the grunge thing started and put American rock right back on the map. And
that's true, and yet people over 40 really haven't heard that much of him.
Well, maybe they should try listening. The music's terrific.
So what does he leave behind?
He leaves behind a legacy, which is 2 albums with his band, although technically 3. There was another album that was released which featured radio sessions. The first album, Nevermind, was, in my opinion, I remember the first time it came into the office and I heard it, my immediate reaction was, let's get this right on the radio, and that's what I did. In Utero last year was, I thought, an admirable follow-up. But, you know, it's a difficult second album, and I thought that Kurt and Nirvana did the job magnificently. So the music will live on.
So just before we leave it, Russ, I mean, I said at the beginning there that we might talk just a bit on the dynamics within the band itself. I mean, there seems to have been a couple of suggestions that the band was collapsing around his ears. People wanted to leave, people were leaving, and that may well have been a contributory factor to his suicide. What about that?
Well, this is a normal sort of thing that happens in rock bands. You get one person, the front man, front woman, who becomes very, very synonymous with the success, and the other members tend not to like it very much. I guess that's probably human nature, and it builds up friction within a band.
All right, Russ Williams, thanks very much indeed for coming in to see us on Live at 5.
We came here. This is Kurt Cobain's residence. The electrician was going to do some repair work. He went up to above the garage where there's a small cottage above the garage, and when he looked inside he saw a man lying on the floor. It was obvious this man is dead from a shotgun wound to the head. Now there was a suicide note left inside the house, and he quickly left and called the police. Our officers had to break into the door because it was locked. It was obvious this person was dead at the scene here. Our detectives are looking over at the scene at the note at this time.
In Aberdeen, Washington, Cobain's mother, Wendy O'Connor, said her son had been missing for 6 days and that she feared he would be found dead. Last month, Cobain was admitted to a Rome hospital after falling into a drug and alcohol-induced coma. The band had been touring Europe at the time and cancelled their European tour dates. Cobain went back to Seattle to recover. Upon hearing the news of Cobain's death, Nirvana's management company, Gold Mountain Entertainment, issued a statement saying, quote, "We're deeply saddened by the loss of such a talented artist, close friend, loving husband and father." Geffen Record Company President Ed Rosenblatt said in a statement, quote, "We're all devastated by the unbelievable tragedy of Kurt Cobain's death."
And the rock world is in mourning tonight. Nirvana's leader is dead.
This is World News Tonight with David Glencorse and Vivian Krieger.
The rock star Kurt Cobain has been found dead at his home in America. 28-year-old Cobain was the driving force behind the top-selling grunge band Nirvana. It's believed that the singer shot himself. A suicide note was found lying near his body.
Kurt Cobain's fans put him up there with Hendrix and Morrison. The co-founder of grunge band Nirvana, Cobain has met a similarly tragic end. Weeping fans outside his Seattle home mourned their hero. The musician's body was found by an electrician who'd come to make repairs at the house. Cobain, it seems, had been dead for 2 days.
When he looked inside, he saw a man lying on the floor. It was obvious this man is dead from a shotgun wound to the head. Now there was a suicide note left inside the house, and he quickly left and called the police. Our officers had to break into the door because it was locked. It was obvious this person was dead.
Cobain, married to former singer Courtney Love, had been recovering at home after falling into a drugs and drink-induced coma last month. Nirvana's breakthrough 1992 album, Nevermind, brought the band a huge following worldwide, but Cobain was unhappy with the instant fame and battled a heroin addiction and mysterious stomach pains. There'd been rumours the band was about to break up, and earlier this week Nirvana dropped out as scheduled headliners for this summer's 4th annual Lollapalooza tour. Nirvana's management say in a statement they're deeply saddened by Cobain's death. Linda Duffin, Sky News.
The sports next from Steve Bottomley.
And the rock star Kurt Cobain, the driving force behind the top-selling grunge band Nirvana, has been found dead at his home in America. It's believed he shot himself.
So